Hello, this is Oleg with OpenBOM, and today I will continue my demonstration and to talk about OpenBOM data modeling. In the previous video, I was talking about fundamentals of OpenBOM, and I was talking about a reference instance model in which we managed OpenBOM catalogs and the instantiating parts in the bill of materials. So today we are going to talk about parent-child relationships and how OpenBOM manage product structures. So to explain the fundamentals of OpenBOM, I will start with a very simple product structure of skateboard that has axle assembly and then axle base and wheels. So again, it's a very simplified model, but I would like to use it as an example. So in OpenBOM, the bill of materials can be connected in the hierarchical structures. So if I do have two bill of materials, they can use a common part, and the relationships are set between part numbers that defines parent-child relationships. So getting back to this picture, you can see that parent-child relationships between wheels and axle assembly, between axle base and axle assembly, and then between axle assembly and skateboard. And to set those relationships, OpenBOM is using part numbers. So let me show you how it works in practice. So in my previous demonstration account, I created a catalog. So to make this demo, I expanded this catalog, and I do have those items. So you see wheel, skateboard, screw, skateboard itself, the axle assembly, and the axle base. So now I will show you how we can create a bill of materials and how OpenBOM will will create these parent-child relationships. So before going over there, let me just go to OpenBOM and let me find this catalog. So this is a catalog. And I would like, let me just delete all bombs that I have, so that will not create anything. So keep in mind, OpenBOM is preserving all data, and if you have bill of materials with part numbers, OpenBOM automatically create relationships. So if you have some other bombs in your account, all information is interconnected. So let me go back to catalog and let me create bill of materials for the skateboard. So I'm going to create bill of material for skateboard. I will be using this catalog, and I create bill of materials. So I created this bill of materials, and now what I can do, I can start adding items to this bill of materials. So let's start from adding, let's use the search, and let's add the axle assembly. So at the moment of time I added this item to the bill of materials, you can see OpenBOM create automatically parent-child relationships. So you don't see this parent-child relationships, you can see these explanations here, but you can check these parent-child relationships but using command very used. So when I click on very used, I'm getting the information that this skateboard is having this axle assembly in this. So I can change the name. For example, I can say it's skateboard. So this axle assembly is part of this bill of materials. Now I can add a couple of more items. So I can go and I can add the board itself, and I can add, for example, 5 screws. No, 6 screws, so let's put screws. So now we're getting screws. So now let me ask you, what about quantity? So you see, I'm adding this information, but I didn't put a quantity, and I can put quantity now. So I have 6 screws, I have 1 board, and I have 2 axle assemblies. So that's what we have now in this bill of materials. And if you see, I am always can check the very use information, and that's basically the indication that these relationships, parent-child relationships between this item and this item of the skateboard is actually established. So now let me ask you, how can we create bill of materials for another sub-assembly, because this is clearly a sub-assembly. So how can we do it? So there are different ways to do it. The first and the most simple thing is to go and create bill of materials for skate axle assembly. So I can go in the same way I did it before, and I can create this bill of materials for this axle assembly using the same method. So that would be easy, but I already created it once, so I want to show you another way to do it. So another way to do it is to do it in place where I am actually adding this information to already existing BOM, which currently has 1 level. So what I will do, let me add 1 more item, and I will add this item below, so I will be able to change structure in place. So I will use search, and I will add the axle base to this BOM. Now here's the thing, we have 2 of them. Oh, actually we have 1 of them, I'm sorry. But this axle base is actually sub item of this axle assembly. How can I do it? So until now we've been using single BOM, single level BOM. But take a look at something that can help you to move and create a structure. So if you switch to multi-level, OpenBOM will show you the entire structure rather than the first level. And for this particular BOM until now, there was no difference between multi-level and single level. But let's create the difference, and let's just restructure this BOM by shifting this axle base down. So let's use this command, move item to the level below. And as you can see, we created an item below the axle assembly. So what you can see is that we're getting this information, and we created sub-level item. So what is interesting is that this item is actually created in independent level BOM that also can be managed separately. And this is the way to introduce the second command that's very useful in parent-child relationships. It's a command that's called composed of. So composed of is the opening in the separate tab of the browser is opening bill of materials for particular item. In this case, the BOM for SK004 contains 1 item. So if I'm selecting this and I am clicking on composed of, we get exactly what we need. We get exactly the item of this BOM, and now I can add another item. So now I can add an item which will be wheels. So let me select wheel and insert it, and I can say that I have 2 wheels. So here's one interesting thing. So now, and I'm sorry, I would like to add 1 more item, and I would like to add screw. So let me search for screw, and let me add screw. So you see we have, let's say, 4 screws, and we can check where is the screw is used, and if I am going to where used, now it's very interesting. You see, right, so there are 2 places where a screw is used. The first is this assembly, and the second is the skateboard itself. So if I go back to various command, and I am going to the skateboard itself. I can see an entire structure. So the entire structure, if I'm going with multi-level, I will see the structure of multi-level bill of materials that we just created. We created it independently, but data is automatically connected. And this is the moment I would like to demonstrate to you another feature that OpenBOM has out of the box embedded, and this is a part of different BOM. So the one we already learned, this is the single level BOM. So if I'll switch to single level, I see one level. So if I switch to multi-level, I see multi-level. But what will happen if I will click on flatten? It will create a flat list of all items in this BOM, which is structured. So in our case, what is important is to watch what will happen with the screws, because we have 4 screws and then we have 2 axle assemblies, but we also have 6 screws on the top level. So if I will switch to flattened, I will see an automatic report and I will know that I have 14 screws. So again, that was an explanation how OpenBOM is managing parent-child relationship. So what is important to remember, that when you create structure like this in OpenBOM, it's organized in the way of pieces of a separate bill of materials. So one bill of material will be this one. And this is axle assembly with 2 items in my picture. Now in the real BOM that we created, there are more. So what is another one? The another one is this one. So this bill of materials, these 2 bill of materials are independent, and we can see them in the dashboard. So we have we have the skateboard, and we have the sub-assembly. So each of these BOMs are independent, and we can access them independently, and we can edit them independently. In the future, I will show you that the big advantage of this independency and granularity is that you can share this information also in a very granular form. So one of the sub-levels can be shared with some people that will not know about the upper assembly that you created. And this skateboard is also separate one. So, but at the same time, if I am on the top level, I can always switch between single and multi-level, and I can see the structure. So that was all with OpenBOM and my second video about OpenBOM data management fundamentals, and we've been talking about parent-child relationships. So thank you very much, and in my next video I will speak about how to manage data properties in items and bill of materials in OpenBOM. Talk to you soon. Thank you very much.